my pleasure to introduce to you Father Ralph-Elias Haddix. He is a Discalced Carmelite friar from West Milwaukee, St. Florian's Parish. And he became solemnly professed on May 1st, 1995, the same year in which he completed his Master of Divinity degree. After being ordained a deacon, he was ordained a priest on August 30th, 1998. Father Ralph-Elias resides in the Carmelite Monastery in West Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where he is the procurator and treasurer of the monastery. His time is filled with teaching a class to a community of sisters, as well as being the confessor for 2 communities of sisters. He offers his time and ministry to help out neighboring parishes and the nearby VA hospital chapel. His retreat work has developed into an apostolate to the Third Order Discalced Carmelite communities. This endeavor has become the primary focus of his ministry. And some of you, a couple of you have come up to me and said, "This friar looks familiar. Why is that?" Well, that's because he was our retreat master in 2008 for our summer retreat. And those of you who attended that would have remembered him. So we're very happy to have him back again. So let's please give him a warm welcome.
And thank you all. It's good to see some of your faces. I do remember your faces, the names I'm not too good on, but anyway. An introduction, I'd like to give an introduction, and then we'll get into the first conference. And I'll tell you that in a second. A contemplative is one who is grounded, this is the introduction. A contemplative is one who is grounded in prayer, God's presence, by being conscious of God and of life and of God in life. A contemplative is one who is in constant dialogue with God and thus is in continuous relationship with God. We can say then that a contemplative is one who has acquired a Christ consciousness. It's interesting to note that our Holy Mother Teresa of Jesus, to my community of Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Teresa of Jesus, she defines prayer as relationship with the one who we know loves us, but also prayer is the communication within that relationship. So it's twofold, and that cannot be forgotten. Okay, the 2 conferences, the purpose of the 2 conferences is to act as a catalyst that will increase our knowledge of what we are to be busy about as disciples of Jesus, Discalced Carmelites. They, the 2 conferences, are not comprehensive studies. Give me a break, okay? They are not comprehensive studies, but overviews, not the ultimate word on the subjects, but an initial examination of them. May they stimulate further inquiry. That's my purpose, that they may stimulate further inquiry. If it does, then I've done my job. We will be talking about some characteristics of being a person of prayer in the world. In other words, of being a prayer. We will be describing ways of life that assist us in living as disciples of Jesus, living life to its fullest. That's why you have embraced what has drawn you here. Living life to the fullest. And what we'll be talking about will be based on the spiritual doctrine of Teresa. And the topics of the 2 conferences, well, the first conference is poverty. I know that Debbie said humility, but she meant, if we listen really close, she meant poverty. Poverty of spirit and simplicity of heart. Poverty and simplicity. And the 2 topics of the second conference are detachment and attachment. And just 2 notes. Poverty. Poverty has to do with choices and uses. What we choose and how we use. That's what poverty of spirit is about. And simplicity of heart has to do with living out those choices and those uses. Okay? Detachment, we can say, is separating ourselves from being possessed by someone or something. It might even be an emotion. Okay? Attachment is uniting ourselves to be possessed by God. A little aside here. When I was in seminary in the early 90s, the community, I was in Washington, D.C., there was about 23 members of the community, okay? A few in seminary, and then the majority were the professed. We had a meeting on what? We had a meeting on poverty, okay? And when I left the meeting, when we all left the meeting, I left the room, like that, because I knew that what I thought was poverty was the right, and the other 22 were wrong. Well, I've grown since, and you know what I've grown to, and this is the truth, speaking about the kingship and truth. Everyone was right. Everyone was right. Because we're human beings and not God, we can never possess ultimate truths wholly. We can only possess them partly because of our human mind. You know, and that's a wonderful thing. So what should have happened was that I got up and I left with a smile, and the other 22 got up and left with a smile as well. That's the perfect thing, because we knew that everyone was right. This is the beautiful thing with God. Everyone, and it's inclusive. God's inclusive, and so with that is the idea of poverty of spirit, simplicity of heart, detachment, and attachment. We're going to just tap in on a few things. My tongue is getting in the way of my eye teeth, and I can't see what I'm saying here. Okay. I want to thank you, dear sisters and brothers, and you better believe me, because I only speak the truth, okay? I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, okay, for all that you have done to be here. I want to thank you for that. Okay, I won't continue on that. And on that note, I am honored to be here, and hopefully this time, this very short time, this very brief time together will be enjoyable, will be enlightening, and will be encouraging. So we begin. One other thing. Here, I'm starting to sound like John Grennan here. That's probably because we lived this past week together, because he was helping me out. I was the only one home. Anyway, that's another story. Poverty, when we think of poverty, we think of being in need, we think of being empty of something, right? Okay. But poverty is not, it's not a negative, but it's a positive disposition. For example, an empty cup, okay? Now, because the cups are empty, it becomes useful, right? When a cup is full, it's useless. You can't take anymore. So it's empty, it's in need, but that's positive, okay? Another example is this. I need a bigger lip on these things. Another example of positive emptiness is this, okay? My hugger is empty. So you come into this and it fills it up. So that's another positive thing of poverty. The idea and the sense of receptiveness, being receptive, okay? That idea of poverty. Poverty of spirit, that focused dedicatedness to a single goal, a single priority. That might sound redundant, but a priority. And that priority is